to call Mr. Ricardo Garcia Cervantes, the chair of GOPAC Executive Committee, to come to the podium and make his presentation.
Buenos días, señoras y señores.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to address the international community today on behalf of the World Organization of Parliamentarians Against Corruption, GOPAC. Mr. Chairman, let me start by conveying our gratitude to you, to our hosts, to UNODC and the government of Panama. We're thankful for the opportunity to participate in this conference because we understand that state parties assume a real commitment, and in each country, parliamentarians will have to carry out the necessary actions to prevent and combat corruption, starting with their own congresses and national assemblies. GOPAC is an organization that has 48 national chapters on 5 continents, and its fundamental objective is to fight corruption not only through the development and updating of laws. Parliamentarians work with prosecutors' offices and make visible all of those lacunae that exist and create impunity. Members of GOPAC welcome the recommendations and resolutions that are part of the review mechanism and support measures to improve it. Over the years, we've seen that in many countries, progress in fighting corruption is measured by the development the fight against corruption. It wouldn't be enough to just update legislation. We need objective indicators, or measures such as asset recovery, penal sanctions, administrative and political actions, to move toward a culture of honesty and integrity throughout government. Citizens. Do political parties serve as authentic servants of society? Do constitutional powers have real power, or are there shady powers that work in their stead? It's important also to actively involve civil society in the process of preventing and fighting corruption. We could state that the level of impunity that exists in the world cannot be tackled otherwise. Parliamentarians of the world affiliated with GOPAC proceed on the basis of the following fundamental principles. First, strengthening institutional capabilities and updating the necessary legislation. And secondly, restore the legitimacy and trust in authorities responsible for control, prosecution, and public procurement and justice. We propose a zero-tolerance approach to corruption and international control of all existing indicators where impunity exists. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, for GOPAC, corruption is a true scourge that undermines the development of societies. All corrupt practices and related crimes affect fundamental rights. and human rights should always be part of our approach. In this regard, the victims of corruption include all of us, but mostly the poorest of the poor. Therefore, all of us, from this perspective, have the right to the truth. Therefore, we call for transparency, access to justice, targeting impunity where it exists, ensuring the right to restitution, and for that we uphold asset recovery. Also, we need guarantees that these offenses are not repeated, and therefore trustworthy institutions are essential. GOPAC, as a worldwide network of parliamentarians, would like to reiterate in front of the international community its will and commitment to continue strengthening the implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in the parliamentary sphere. At this time, hundreds of legislators on 5 continents are debating documents drafted by GOPAC. Today, in the afternoon, a forum of parliamentarians will be held as a special event in the margins of this conference. And at that meeting, we will open a discussion on judging corruption as an international crime. We will talk about the obligation of financial institutions to prevent and combat money laundering, to identify real beneficiaries of all operations. Our motivation, of course, is the hope that we could help move forward the implementation of this convention. Thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to share our views and our approaches in this important conference from the point of view of parliamentarians, members of GOPAC. Thank you very much.